1977 and has been fully restored. The most expensive piece, though, is a Yves Klein gold leaf on a wood panel. That sold for $1.31 million. Wow. The Midas touch, indeed. That's our time for now. News 3 at 5 starts right after this. Right now at 5, if you plan on voting in the November election, you may see a question on your ballot about the legalization of marijuana. We'll tell you what it'll mean for the state moving forward.
Plus, officials give an update on the missing Wisconsin teenager whose parents were found dead in their Barron County home.
And an area man being hailed a hero for acting quickly during August's historic flooding in Dane County.
This is News 3 at 5.
Thanks for staying with News 3. When you head to the polls next month, you could see a question on your ballot about the legalization of marijuana.
Dane County is one of more than a dozen across the state that have an advisory referendum on this issue. The different questions are being asked in different counties, and some of them are about legalization for medicinal use. Others take it one step further to ask if marijuana should be legalized for recreational use.
But none of them require the state legislature to take any action. Here's Rose Schmidt.
It's a question with high interest.
Should we legalize, tax, and regulate marijuana like we do for alcohol for adults 21 years of age and older?
And if you live in Dane County, you'll have the opportunity to answer it next month. But the Dane County clerk wants you to know it's an advisory referendum, as opposed to a binding one.
So it's really just sending a message to the state that the citizens want to see a change in the law.
We're really gauging public opinion. Any actions to change the law will have to be taken in our assembly and by our executive branches here in the state of Wisconsin. But
Yogesh Chavala is the Dane County board member who made sure it got on the ballot. But it's been there before. What's different this time around is Dane is one of 16 counties, plus the cities of Waukesha and Racine, asking a question about marijuana.
And it's over half the population of the state, so we're really going to get an accurate picture of what our neighbors think on this issue.
That's especially important because it's a general election, meaning more voters than other times of the year.
So we were anticipating higher turnout this year, mostly revolving around enthusiasm about the Senate race, the governor's race.
But not necessarily the issue of marijuana legalization. And remember, voting for the referendum doesn't necessarily mean it will become legal in Wisconsin.
If this referendum passes, that doesn't mean you should start ordering marijuana through the mail from Colorado. I would wait on that.
Now, we asked the candidates for Attorney General how they feel about this issue. Democrat Josh Kaul says he supports legalizing marijuana right away for medical use, but would decide later about recreational use.
Republican and current Attorney General Brett Schimmel says he opposes legalization for recreational use and says the state should consult the federal government and medical community about effectiveness and safety before legalizing marijuana for medicinal purposes. Schimmel's campaign also called the advisory referendum a, quote,
ploy to turn out Democratic voters. President Trump will be coming to Wisconsin next week for a campaign rally. He will hold that rally at the Mosinee Airport just south of Wausau. That'll be next Wednesday, October 24th. The trip will be the president's first to the Badger State since late June when he came for the groundbreaking for the Foxconn plant. Today, the deadline for voters to register to vote online or by mail, although today is not your last chance to register to vote altogether. You can register in person to vote at your municipal clerk's office until Friday, November 2nd. You can also register at your polling place on Election Day, Tuesday, November 6th. But if you are mailing in your registration, your voter form and proof of residence must be postmarked no later than today. And if registering online, you must send in your name, birth date, Wisconsin driver's license or state ID number, and address to the DMV by the end of the day. We do have plenty of links on how to register both ways on our homepage. You can find it at channel3000.com.
Let's get a check on weather now. Gary Canalti is in the Weather Center. Gary?
Actually, a pretty quiet day today, a little cooler than yesterday. Temperatures in the upper 40s to around 50, but plenty of sunshine. We started the day with a little bit of cloud cover, but you can see how those clouds dissipated, and we had mostly sunny skies for much of the day today. Doppler track shows some snow showers downwind from Lake Superior up through the northern portion of lower Michigan. It's cold enough for that this time of year. Last night, we dropped to a low of 38 in Madison. Most locations saw temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. It was around 40 near the Lake Michigan shoreline. High temperatures so far today, right around the 50-degree mark, give or take a degree or two, and current temperatures are within a few degrees of those high temperatures. Here in Madison, we've dropped back to 48 degrees. Winds, though, have been kind of brisk during the day. They're starting to die down a little bit and should become light overnight, and that will allow temperatures to drop off pretty rapidly. So those winds in the 8 to 15 mile per hour range will drop off. By morning, we should be down into the upper 20s to around 30 degrees with mostly clear skies. Tomorrow will be another sunny day, but southwesterly winds will kick in, and that'll mean a slightly milder day with a high of 56. That's your first alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. New information tonight about the missing girl, Jamie Kloss from Barron County. This afternoon, the medical examiner in Minneapolis completed the autopsies on her parents, Denise and James Kloss, and ruled those deaths homicides. They say they died of gunshot wounds, but no gun was found at the scene. Investigators also believe Jamie was inside that home at the time, and they say she is still in danger. They say there are currently more than 200 law enforcement workers on the case. They say they have no reason to believe Jamie is dead and are confident they will bring her home alive.
100%. 100%. We want to bring Jamie home and put that smile back in her family's hands.
Investigators say they have received more than 400 tips so far. That number for the tip line right there on your screen, 1-855-744-3879.
Dane County deputies are investigating a single vehicle fatal crash that happened this morning near Wanakee. Deputies say it happened just east of Walker Road around 6 this morning. Investigators say a truck was going west on 19 when the driver, a 32-year-old man, crossed the center line, drove into the ditch, and then rolled the vehicle over. He was found unresponsive and pronounced dead at the scene. The highway was closed for over an hour as crews responded.
A Wanakee man accused of fatally shooting his neighbor has pleaded not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. 74-year-old Ronald Jenny was ordered to stand trial Tuesday after a preliminary hearing in Dane County Circuit Court. Jenny is charged with first-degree intentional homicide and first-degree reckless endangerment. He's accused of killing his neighbor, 54-year-old Julie Anderson, in August. Search warrants say Anderson's 15-year-old son and 4-year-old grandson witnessed that shooting. A criminal complaint says that before she died, Anderson told first responders it was Jenny who shot her. Officials are investigating the cause of a fire at a building that was under construction. This is according to the Madison Fire Department. This happened at the 6500 block of Manufacturers Drive around 11 this morning. Witnesses say there was a fire on the roof, black smoke coming from that building. Firefighters say they were working to get about a dozen people off the roof during the fire. No injuries reported. That fire was under control by 12:30.
Farmers in Greene County are expressing their concerns today about a potential plan to install more than 24 wind turbines. The county says the plan for a company called EDF Renewables to install the turbines is under consideration. Farmers say they'll cause unnecessary light and noise, which they believe would decrease their property values, and say they're concerned about the windmills being so close to their homes.
I understand the sustainability for different energy needs, but when it's going to be almost right next to your property and you've got the tall windmills that create noise issues, light issues, wildlife issues, it's just hard to consider having that, right next door in your backyard.
A representative from the company says they're still getting the necessary permits, but they plan on installing the turbines over the next 2 years.
Cross Plains is honoring a man for his heroic actions during August's historic floods. Our Keely Arthur met up with him today and has his story. Keely?
Well, that night we were telling everyone to stay off the roads. Well, Pete Kramer saw our reports on TV and decided to do the exact opposite. A decision that saved lives. Kramer is the owner of PT Firearms in Cross Plains. The night of the flooding, he drove there to check on his store. On his way back, he was stopped by Cross Plains officer Scott Kretz, who asked Kramer if he could help. Kramer said yes, and Kretz hopped in. Together, they rescued some 20 residents during the flooding using Kramer's 5-ton military truck. The truck allowed the two to travel around town rescuing stranded residents in a way that really no other vehicle could.
I was just glad to help. I'm not a hero. I just happen to be in the area with the right equipment, and I would do it for anybody.
Police say the water was moving too quick for a boat and too high for fire trucks. We will hear more from Kramer and Officer Kretz coming up on News 3 at 6.
All right, Keely Arthur reporting. Now, Keely, thank you.
Thank you, Keely. Madison is considering more upgrades to Breeze-Stevens Field to make room for hundreds more fans. The city hopes to add more bleachers, build a hospitality deck, and to improve handicapped access. The project says the proposed updates are estimated around $500,000. The cost would be shared between the city and Big Top Events. City officials say any feedback or concern should be brought forward in a neighborhood meeting November 1st. As far as the timeline from there, a vote is scheduled for November 19th. And if all goes through, the construction could start this winter. The Brewers and Dodgers are playing in Game 5 of the National League Championship Series. Right now, the Brewers are up 1-0, tied at 2 games apiece with the LA Dodgers. Both teams will travel to Milwaukee for Game 6 on Friday, and if there is a Game 7, that would also be played at Miller Park on Saturday. The winner of the series will then head to the World Series, where they'll face either the Astros or the Red Sox.
1-0 now. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Long way to go in that one. We'll keep you updated. More to come on News 3 at 5. Up next, the latest on the investigation into the disappearance of Washington Post contributor Jamal Khashoggi.
And the American astronaut who survived a failed rocket launch is speaking out about his near-death experience.
And a quick check of the day on Wall Street. The Dow ended down 92 points. NASDAQ lost almost 3. S&P dropped less than a point. We'll be right back. President Trump says he's on a mission to figure out what happened to journalist Jamal Khashoggi, even as he warned the Saudi government should not be considered guilty of killing him until it is proven.
Turkish officials believe the Washington Post contributor was murdered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul 2 weeks ago. Today, Turkish investigators searched the residence of the Saudi consul general in Istanbul for clues. President Trump vowed to obtain any audio evidence proving that he was tortured and killed.
We've asked for it if it exists. I'm not sure yet that it exists, probably does, possibly does.
President Trump says he plans to review a report from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who traveled to Turkey and Saudi Arabia this week to discuss the investigation.
The American astronaut who survived a dramatic failure of a Russian rocket says he is lucky the emergency abort system worked. Astronaut Nick Hague was one of 2 people in the capsule when something went wrong. They were 2 minutes into their climb to orbit, traveling at 4 times the speed of sound, when their rocket failed. A strap-on booster apparently crashed into the side of the rocket's central booster and burst into a cloud of debris. The automatic abort system detected trouble and threw the crew's capsule up and away.
The first thing I really noticed was being shaken fairly violently side to side as that safety system pulled us away from the rocket. You're a little bit startled, and then I saw the booster failure light inside the capsule, and at that point, I realized, hey, we're not going to make it to orbit today. And your training kicks in and you're ready to respond. And so Alexei and I changed gears.
Hague and his Russian cosmonaut counterpart landed safely in Kazakhstan, about 250 miles from the launch site. The crewmates hung upside down in that capsule, waiting for help to arrive.
Amazing story. Canada has made history, becoming only the 2nd country in the world to legalize marijuana. Under the new law, pot enthusiasts can buy up to 30 grams of marijuana without facing arrest. Medical marijuana has been legal in Canada since 2001, but government officials say expanding the use of 420 to adults will help regulate the black market.
For the first time, adult Canadians who choose to consume cannabis have a safer, lower risk, healthier, and more socially responsible choice. They can choose to do this legally.
Canadians convicted of possessing up to 30 grams of marijuana will now receive a pardon. Uruguay was the first country to legalize marijuana.
And another sunny but cool day out there. A little breeze kicking up as we look at Gary on the backyard patio. Gary, how's the weather out there?
Just depends on which way the breeze is blowing. Yesterday it was blowing from the southwest. Temperatures were in the 50s. Today it was blowing from the northwest. We're around 50. Tomorrow it goes back to the southwest and temperatures will be back to the middle 50s. But if we take a look at the high temperature trend over the next 7 days, the temperatures will be right around normal with the exception of this weekend. We'll definitely see a cooler weekend with high temperatures only in the upper 40s. In fact, falling temperatures from the upper 40s on Saturday and upper 40s with sunshine on Sunday. Elsewhere, the rest of the time, temperatures will be in the middle to upper 50s, and the average high temperature goes from 58 to 56 degrees. Live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville showing clear skies over southwestern Wisconsin. WISC Skycam also showing clear skies on the west side of Madison, and the Edgewater Skycam on downtown Madison showing bright sunshine over the UW campus in the southern end of Lake Mendota. As we check out the almanac for today, high temperature made it up to 50 degrees after starting out at 38. So the low temperature average, but the high temperature a little bit below normal. Right now we're sitting at 48. Skies are sunny, winds are out of the northwest at 9 miles per hour. Dew point temperature down to 21. They are pretty dry, so I'm expecting temperatures to at least drop into the upper 20s by tomorrow morning. Low temperatures last night were around freezing in the northern part of the state. We had some cloud cover here in southern Wisconsin, keeping temperatures up into the upper 30s, but current temperatures range from the middle 30s in the UP of Michigan up in Marquette to around 50 here in southern Wisconsin, a little milder to our south and west, but compared to 24 hours ago, those temperatures running about 5 to 10 degrees colder over much of the state of Wisconsin. Upper level winds coming in from the northwest and a pretty strong jet stream overhead, dividing much colder air to our north and east to milder conditions to our south. The jet streams kind of come together over the eastern part of the country. The southern branch of the jet stream, the subtropical jet stream, bringing moisture into Texas with showers and thunderstorms there, but the main storm track is staying to our south. So as I mentioned, even last week, the upper level winds are mainly coming in from the northwest, bringing in weather systems that don't have a lot of moisture associated with them, so we're not getting a lot of precipitation. Cold front that came through yesterday has now dropped to the south and is down near the Ohio River, but then becomes a warm front across the Dakotas. So the cold front will move to the east, but the warm front will head in our direction and turn temperatures a little milder for tomorrow. Temperatures right now in the 30s and 40s in our part of the Midwest, 60s, even a couple places around 70 out through the western Dakotas. And on future track, you can see high pressure passing nearly overhead tonight with light winds. Then tomorrow, as that high moves off to the east, winds become southwesterly and temperatures warm back up. Look for just a slight chance of a shower tomorrow night into early Friday morning. And then on Friday, look for variably cloudy skies, high temperatures probably topping out in the upper 50s. So 27 for the overnight low temperature tonight with clear skies and light winds. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, becoming breezy and milder. High temperature back up at 56. On future track, you can see those winds becoming very light as that high pressure system passes to the south. Then we'll turn mild for tomorrow. Tomorrow night, a couple of showers roll on through. And then on Friday, there's a possibility for perhaps a sprinkle in the morning. The afternoon will probably be dry. 7 to 10 day forecast calls for temperatures to go down for the weekend. That 48 high on Saturday will be in the morning with falling temperatures, and the showers could mix with a few flakes of snow before ending Saturday night. Then a prolonged period of sunny and dry weather, taking temperatures from the upper 40s on Sunday to the middle 60s by the end of next week. Some shower chances toward the end of the week and into the following weekend. As we take a look at first alert traffic, things not looking too good on the Beltline right now. That's the view from the DOT camera at John Nolan Drive. You can see very slow traffic in both directions. In fact, eastbound, we're seeing delays starting around West Broadway going back to west of Verona Road. Westbound delays begin around Seminole Highway and head back to around John Nolan Drive. Then also some delays through the Isthmus on East Washington Avenue as well. Right now, about a 28-minute commute in the eastbound direction from University Avenue to the interstate, 21 minutes going back in the westbound direction. Heading out of Madison, it's 28 minutes down to Janesville on I-3990, 18 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 18 minutes out to Sun Prairie on US 151. That's your first alert traffic.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary. Ahead on News 3 at 5, a new study shows popular U.S. burger chains don't have a policy for sourcing antibiotic-free beef. We'll tell you which fast food restaurants do and don't when we return. Welcome back. Some of the largest fast food chains have received a failing grade from consumer and environmental groups for serving beef that was raised with antibiotics.
Of the 25 restaurants in the study, only 2 of them were given an A. Hillary Lane has more.
I'm pretty conscious of my diet.
So when Carmen Scalfani learned that his favorite fast food spot, Shake Shack, only uses beef raised without antibiotics, he was thrilled.
Sure, it always helps to know that things are quality is king.
Shake Shack and BurgerFi were the only 2 fast food restaurants to earn an A for serving beef raised without the use of antibiotics.
Beyond just the no antibiotics is that you get a better protein and a better meat at the end of the day, which gives us the best burger that we could possibly get.
Public health experts are concerned about antibiotic overuse. And a new report from consumer groups and environmentalists looked at the practices of the top 25 burger chains. They gave 22 restaurants, including Burger King and McDonald's, an F. Wendy's got a D- because it buys some beef from a supplier that uses reduced antibiotics.
The problem of antibiotic resistance, which comes from overuse of antibiotics, both in humans and animals, is a crisis at this point.
The National Cattlemen's Beef Association tells CBS News the beef industry promotes the judicious use of antibiotics to keep potential risk of developing antibiotic-resistant bacteria extremely low. McDonald's says it's working to roll out an antibiotics policy for beef by the end of the year. According to Consumer Reports, 59% of people would pay more for a burger that was raised without antibiotics. Hillary Lane, CBS News, New York.
According to the Centers for Disease Control, at least 2 million people get an antibiotic-resistant infection, resulting in at least 23,000 deaths each year.
Stay with us. We'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment.
Tonight on the CBS Evening News, we'll take a look at the plane that was involved in an emergency landing for the First Lady today. And Eye on America, highly emotional story tonight. Two childhood friends confront the former priest they say abused them in elementary school. That is on tonight's CBS Evening News.
Finally, at 5, Target is catering to every Wisconsinite this holiday season.
Instead of the typical chocolate, Target is selling a cheese advent calendar that offers 24 pieces of individually wrapped cheeses, one to be eaten on each day of Advent in the countdown to Christmas. They'll be available in nearly 250 Target stores across the U.S. starting in November at a cost of $20 per calendar. The calendar inventor says more than 11,000 customers signed up for the calendar last year. The cheese brands include Applewood, Mexicana, and Jarlsberg.
Let's go to Gary. One final check of the forecast.
Did you just open them up all on the same day?
Yeah.
No, it's rather chilly out there right now. Once the sun goes down, it's going to cool off pretty rapidly. We're at 48 already in Madison, and you can see temperatures mainly in the upper 40s now. Compared to 24 hours ago, those temperatures down about 10 degrees, and I'm looking for overnight low temperatures in the middle to upper 20s, but high temperatures tomorrow will be back in the middle 50s. Will be near 60 on Friday with a slight chance for a morning shower. Better chance for showers on Saturday, but those could end as flakes of snow Saturday night as temperatures drop into the middle 20s by Sunday morning. Cool day on Sunday, but then temperatures warming up slowly next week. Actually a pretty nice week overall. Next chance of showers probably from Friday night into Saturday of the following weekend.
All right, Gary, thank you very much. Join us again in 30 minutes for News 3 at 6. We'll have the latest updates. CBS Evening News coming your way next. Stay tuned.